Let's see, should be here somewhere. Find it. Great, I found my i20. Let's break it down now. What is up guys, SubtreX here and welcome back to my channel. And in this video we are going to be breaking down what is an i20 and every kind of information that an i20 contains. And this is my i20, so I thought why not just go over, instead of using a sample i20, why not just go over my i20 itself. So yeah, let's get into it. So starting off the i20, we start off with the institution that actually releases your i20 or oversees everything. That is a Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and it comes under the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So the first major point you will see in your i20 is your service ID. Now I'll not be showing off my service ID because it is confidential. You should keep it confidential, should not share it with other people. But yeah, your service ID is your most important information on your i20. And after you get your i20 from your university, you will use this service ID to go to the SEB portal and then pay your service fee to actually activate your service. Service actually stands for Student Exchange and Visitors Information System, if I'm not wrong. It is kind of like a program where the US government uses to keep track of all the non-immigrants and the international students, the foreign students that are coming in to US for education, higher education. Now, moving on to the next block of information, you have your mostly, what can I call it, personal information, a biography page. You have your surname, a primary name or your family name. You have your given name. You have your preferred name, the name that actually occurs on your passport. Oh no, you also have a region for passport name. But yeah, my preferred name and passport name are both similar, so I think my passport name is blank, that's why. But yeah, your major name that you use, your preferred name. Then you go over to country of birth. There comes your country of citizenship, which is both India for me. Then comes your city of birth, and all this information are directly taken from your passport. My city of birth is Kharagpur. Then comes your date of birth. Then comes your form, issue, reason. It says continued attendance in here. I'm not exactly sure what your fresh i20. There might be something else here, but I think this i20 I got it before I left for India last year in 2023. I went in December of 2023. I went to India. So yeah, every time you leave US, you need to get a new i20. I'll show that in the next page. It comes in the next page. So yeah, that's all for the first block right here. And the major thing you can see over here is it says it's an F1 visa. This i20 is for an F1 visa. You are an F1 student that comes under academical language, and that's the class of admission getting into United States. Alright, moving on into the next point, which is a very important block of information here in the i20, which says school information. There you will get your school name, which was Indiana University or Indiana University Bloomington for me, and both are written over here. I'm not exactly sure why, but it sometimes happens. You will see colleges, they are known by maybe 2 names or maybe 3 names, or maybe your computer science college, the College of Computer Science is known by something, and then your major university, the parent university, is known by some other name. So both of the names will be written over here. Then you will find your school address. You will find your school official to contact upon arrival. This is also a very important point. And you will find your school code and approval date. The school code is important, and these all information will be needed by you at some point during some documentation. So yeah, i20 is like a very, very important document. Alright, moving on to the next block, you will have your program of study. Now this will entail all the information about the current course that you're going to do, the current program you are. So first you have your education level, which is master's. Then you have your major 1, which is computer science. My major 2 is nothing because for master students you will only see the major 1 filled. There is no major 2, but for bachelors there might be a major and a minor, so you might have both of these text blocks filled, like a major 1 and a major 2. Then comes your program English proficiency, and that's required. And then you have English proficiency notes that student is proficient, and this is actually the information that reflects that you have either given TOEFL or IELTS proficient in English, and you are English proficient to take the English based classes here in US. Then you have your earliest admission date. Pay attention to this date because this is the date after which you can enter US for your current program, for this particular I-20 or for the current visa that you have. You can see right here, start of classes was 22nd August 2022, and then you have your earliest admission date. Then you have a rough timeline of your program, a program start and a program end date. So the start date is 12th August 2022 over here, and then you have an end date of 31st May. We actually graduated on 5th May, but it's just like a rough average timeline that's given by the university. And it's also very important, sometimes you will need to enter this information maybe while you're booking flights, or maybe somewhere even you might get asked this question while you are standing at an immigration line. So yeah, these are pretty important informations. Now comes your financials. Now your financials will show you the I-20 value that we know of. People talk about the I-20 amount or the I-20 value. You will find it over here. It's basically an estimated average cost for 9 months. That's it. And why 9 months, do you ask? Why not 12 months? Because 9 months in US, the academic year is considered to be 9 months. I guess 4.5 months of each semester or something like that. But yeah, the academic year is considered to be of 9 months. So it's an estimated average cost for 9 months, which shows tuition and fees of this amount, living expenses of this amount, expenses of dependents. I don't have any dependents, but if you guys have a dependent, then it will also show you the expenses of the dependents over here. And then you have your MESC, that is your health insurance, all the other stuff. But these, as it's written in the top, these are all estimates. These are estimates given by the college. The tuition and fees amount is generally not variable, it's generally fixed. But the living expenses are, I think it's way too much. It's $12,000 or something written like that. If you even consider it for 12 months, that's around $1,000 per month. And I think for a student, for an international student who's coming here, if you are not lavishly living with like a private bedroom and a private bathroom and everything, these living expenses are way higher. But yeah, moving on to the next part, you have your students' funding. This is basically the funding that you have shown. And I think I showed more than whatever the I-20 amount was, but still the I-20 amount, the students' funding shown is shown completely as family funds of 47,991. The funding that you show, it can show it as your personal fund. You can show funds from the school, which basically shows any kind of scholarship that you have gotten. Or if you're showing account funds from your parents' account, your father's account, or your mother's account, which was the case for me because I did not have any kind of personal savings on me. So yeah, and if you also have any on-campus employment before maybe getting the I-20, that is also reflected over here. But yeah, these in financials will show you all financial information you need to know about your master's program or your bachelor's program, whatever it is. Then you have a remarks block over here, the remarks area, which says like the health insurance is mandatory because as you know, health insurance is mandatory. If you're enrolled in a full-time program over here, health insurance is mandatory. So you need to have health insurance. Then comes the school attestation, where you will see the signature of the school official. The school official was mentioned before as well. You will have the date issued, the place issued, which was Bloomington. This is generally the place where the university is located. And then you have the student attestation. The student attestation, it has a lot of areas, signature of the student, and then you need to put the date. All these other areas, you can leave them blank, the name of parent or guardian, another signature, an address and date. You do not actually need to fill it. If you want, you can, but the name of parent or guardian is generally needed if you are below 18 and you're entering the US. So yeah, you don't really need to fill this out. So yeah, that's what the first page of I-20 looks like, page 1 of I-20. Now let's move over to the second page. Now coming to the second page of the I-20, you again have your service ID printed over here with a bracket F1 written in the bracket. Now comes the employment authorization area, where generally I think this is an old I-20, so if you get your EAD card or if you get your STEM extension, all those information will come over here. Then we move over to the change of status or a cap gap extension. And I think a cap gap extension is basically a provision through which F1 students can keep working after their OPT has expired and until their H1B gets approved. I think the US allows for a gap between that, and that's what the gap extension is known of. And if you are in that kind of a situation, those information will be reflected in your new i20. Then you have your authorized reduced course load. If you have filled out any form that says specifically you do not need that particular course to graduate, like a reduced course load thing, that will be reflected over here. Current session state just reflects the current session start date, which shows as 21 August 2023, and the current session end date, which is 15th December 2023. This is basically, I think, the session in which the i20 was issued to you. Then comes your travel endorsement, and this is like a major block of information. This is a very important area in your i20 because every time you need to leave the US while you are on your F1 visa, you will need to take a permission from your DSO, that is designated school official, and that DSO will approve your travel and will issue a new i20 where the travel has been endorsed. And if you have left the US without any kind of travel endorsement, and then when you try to enter back, you might be asked questions. Mostly you will be asked questions because that's kind of like illegal. So every time you need to leave US on your F1 visa, you need to get a new i20. You will need to put in a travel request, and that travel request needs to be approved. It needs to be endorsed in your i20, which reflects over here. This is the time it was issued on October 20, 2023 because I left in December for India. So every time you travel, this travel endorsement will fill up and this will show. So that's all about the second page of i20, and beyond that it's just blank. Now let's go over the third page, which isn't much actually. If you see, the third page is just a bunch of rules. Many people don't even print this third page out. Just an instructions to students, like what are some good regulations to follow and what are the pointers you actually need to keep in mind, instruction to schools and all that stuff. And that's the third page of i20, and that is basically your i20. So that's a breakdown of the i20. Very important document in your whole student life. All throughout your student life in US, you will be needing this piece of document, that is your i20. So that's all for the video. I just wanted to break down an i20 and show you guys what an i20 document is. The next videos are probably going to be how to get an i20, and I'll also be probably releasing my Miami vlogs. But if you guys like this video, give it a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe like a snare, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace out.